Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining this session today. I'm sure you've heard this now at the other sessions as well, but for Q&A, we're going to be utilizing the Q&A portion within the app. So before the session starts, if you want to pull that up, within the app, go under Session Q&A. You'll be able to then locate this specific session, and then we just encourage you to submit questions via the platform. This just helps us prioritize the questions as they come in once we do get to the Q&A portion, and it's also encouraged for our virtual attendees as well. So if at the end there are questions and you want to raise your hand, feel free. But again, check out that option if you have not done so for another session. But with that, I'm going to hand it over and we'll get started.
Hi, everyone.
Good afternoon. Okay. So that's the title. I'm not going to read it for you, but I'll jump in and just introduce ourselves.
Hi, so my name's Chris McBride. I'm from Glasgow, Scotland. I work at University of Glasgow. The past year, my job has massively changed, moving from general support to being service lead for my Mac, which is the name we've given Jamf MDM at the university. I'm responsible for the strategic development and forward planning for the service it's provided by the end user computing department at the university.
Hi, yeah, my name is Rob Potvin. I work for Jamf. I'm a senior consulting engineer. I'm based in EMEA, so on the other side of the pond. I currently live in the Netherlands, just inside not inside the tulip fields, but near the tulip fields. Yeah, I've been with Jamf for over a decade, had multiple different roles, but yeah, so we have a cool little story to tell you.
So our story begins. University of Glasgow it's a renowned institution based in Glasgow, obviously, Scotland. It was established in 1451. It's one of the oldest English-speaking universities in the world. With a rich history and tradition of academic excellence, the university is highly regarded for its teaching, research, and innovation across a wide range of disciplines. We offer a diverse range of undergraduate and postgraduate courses or programmes, and its faculty comprises of distinguished scholars and experts in their fields. Yeah, it looks over those seats, they're really comfy.
Yeah, sorry, I went a little too fast there, but yeah.
The university's contribution to society extends beyond academia. It actively engages with local communities and drives positive change through research and collaborations. With a commitment to research, innovation and community engagement, University of Glasgow continues to play a vital role in shaping the intellectual and cultural landscape both nationally and internationally. And as you can see, the university looks like Hogwarts.
And I have to second that. I visited a couple times, and it's crazy. And then there was also one slide there with lasers, and that's because beside this ancient campus is also brand new spanking research lab that was just, yeah, mind-blowing. Okay, so let's get into the kind of like, we started a story, but why are we here? So we're going to talk about the chaos, right? And I kind of require like a cowboy hat here because we have that theme, but really, when I got approached with this project, and we're going to get into more about how I got approached into the project and everything else, there's a lot of Macs within the University of Glasgow, right? They're still kind of estimating, but there's like 5,000 to 8,000 Macs for like 15 years that are just over the campus, and it is a little bit like the Wild West, as you can see, right? So when we started the project, there's a lot of things that we needed to do, there's a lot of planning involved, but it's like we're gonna be managing these devices within that organization. So we need to make sure that we have the inventory of the device when it comes in. We kind of have to have an understanding of the health of the device when it comes in, right? And on top of that, the security of a device as well, right? So there's a lot of things that needed to be done, and yeah, really.
So when do you start? When you start a project like this, when you've got a million other things to do? You start the project when this chap comes over the horizon.
What is that?
Our Dementor friend, who's government security standards.
It does look like Hogwarts, so we need to get a bad guy in there.
So what we're going to be talking about, Cyber Essentials. It's a security standard from the UK government that we have to adhere to. So some of the takeaways are cyber security, protection and confidentiality, all of which we need to make sure we measure up against. So because this is government standard and we are in part funded by the government for some research projects, a secured device means funding. So all research that requests funding and devices need to be managed and secured. So secured equals funding.
Yeah.
Now, how do we go about managing all of this? So remember, Rob just mentioned the Wild West there. With our new Dementor friend, we need someone to wrangle in these Macs and get them all managed. And we need to go from Wild West to civilised West. But as we know, it's not always plain sailing. So there's always going to be a few bumps along the way. Now, where to start? So, the University of Glasgow is a big Microsoft house. It's got a lot of inbuilt experience in its IT teams. We currently use Intune, Azure AD or Entra ID now, Defender, and we also still use SCCM.
Shh, you're not supposed to say that. And this is my favorite icon that's available within Mac OS.
So the university's been taking steps to consolidate all its departments into one in their IT infrastructure. It's also been working hard on consolidating our procurement processes to try and get everyone ordering from a central location, because if we can manage that, then we can manage our deployments more effectively. A lot of work has went on in the background and to facilitate these changes, and it's been pulled together under a project called Project EOS. Now, I'm probably going to get stick for this, but these two gentlemen, Pete Mitchell, who's Assistant Director of IT, and Mike Thomas, who's a end-user deputy computer manager, I think that's right. They've been driving the Project EOS forward, which is leading to transformational change for users and the technology within the university. So it's really pushing on what we've been trying to do the past few years, and we're starting to see the benefits of it now.
This project couldn't have gone anywhere without all the work that happened beforehand.
Yeah, so, absolutely, it wouldn't have. So, a little history about the university and Apple. The Apple device has been used in the university for decades now in all sorts of research and teaching. As Rob said earlier, we could have 5,000 plus unmanaged devices out there that we need to secure, and we need to trace them and secure them. A little known fact about university is this man here was awarded an honorary doctorate in 2017.
That's Stallone, by the way.
Now we have the requirement to manage the devices within the organisation. Where do we start? What products do we even select? So at the minute, or when we started this project, it was really just me working on Intune with iOS devices, and the requirement was to then use Intune with macOS devices, but that sucked. So we had to look at something else.
Ever since I've known him, he's smiling a lot more now since he stopped working with Intune.
So we have to build a team to manage these devices. But we need to do it fast. We need to train the team. I need to train myself to use whatever new product we're going to use. So we need to fix. Next slide.
Oh, sorry about that. Just blame the guy with the clicker.
So remember, in the university, we've got a lot of grumpy professors who are not necessarily wanting to have their devices managed. So they've been managing their devices for some of them over 20 years, and they think effectively. And you have to have those conversations to persuade them that this is a better solution.
And you have to know, them managing their devices for 20 years means not deleting anything for 20 years.
So we need to explain why we have to do this, why it's necessary now, and what the changing landscape to security is. So after having a look at several of the products in the market, we decided to choose Jamf because of its enterprise level scalable solution. It's highly customizable as well, and that's exactly what we were looking for. Jamf, when we approached them, told us about a new product they had called the Jamf Premium Pilot for new customers in ENIMA, and that was a really big selling point for us because we didn't want a managed service. We wanted to build the service in-house and manage it ourselves. And this product, the Jamf Premium Pilot, was absolutely perfect in how we wanted to take this forward.
So what is a premium pilot? And that's kind of what I'm here for. Is really, it's all about that path to production and kind of working with that customer, right? So, pardon me. When you look at the premium pilot, they basically have unfettered access to all of Jamf and the software, so Jamf and all of our kind of a software portfolio. And with Glasgow, it was kind of key, is we wanted within that path to production, something that they could take away, right? And with the premium pilot, it's all about planning for success, right? And in a role with a consulting engineer, it's like we want to come in and figure out exactly what are their success factors so that they can succeed. And in this case, it's wrangle in, those 5,000 max. With that kind of understanding of those success factors, we can build a project plan. And then once we have a project plan in place, we kind of understand what we need to do. I've been a Mac admin for 20 some years. I just look younger than I actually am. With that, we want to have that proper conversations. I think that's one of the biggest things people miss in any higher education, corporate world, doesn't really matter. Sometimes we think of it as an IT project and not a people project. And having the right people at the table kind of solves those IT problems a lot faster. So planning for success, some of the other parts and bits and bobs of the premium pilot, because again, it's like one little piece that they give it. It's like 90 days, premium support, premium cloud, all the software. And again, that planning bit. What I mean by planning is it's really kind of reminds me of that quote, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It comes down to that project. So we have an objective and goal, we have an understanding of what they need, and multiple objectives and goals, really. We've written out kind of the whole endpoint, what we're gonna do for the 90 days. We can plan this out, right? And, 1 second, try that again. And we go through that entire project plan with them. Right? So we're monitoring the project on the way. Sometimes good things happen, sometimes bad. Hands up, did anyone have a perfect project that ended with no errors or everything was perfect? Really? I mean, no, and not even, of course you, Matt, yeah. So when you're going through this project monitoring, project planning and stuff like that, as just any regular project, you're gonna end up with some things that are good, some things that are bad, some things that have happened. But again, since this is a project where I'm leaving in 90 days, right? And in our case, it was another one after that for security, but still, I'm leaving in 90 days. They have to have the skills in place, and they have to understand what is happening, and if any failures were happening, why it happened, who do we need to talk to, and maybe that wasn't the right solution or the right policy or whatever it was to have it work, okay? So going back to that, I'm leaving in 90 days, it's all about enablement. So funny enough, my previous jobs at Jamf, I was a trainer, curriculum development, all this other thing. And I'm all about that continuous learning and really making sure this guy and all the customers I work with have the skills, right, to resources to continue. So that whole personal development cycle. You know what I mean, Chris?
Well, that's excellent points.
Of course it's excellent points. No.
Well, I'm learning something new every day with this project, and I'm absolutely loving that. When we were moving towards production and Rob was ready to leave, we had to bring on a consultant as well to help us get over that point. His name was Chris Brannigan from Econ Consultants, and he really got us ready to move into proper production after Rob and the Jamf Premium pilot had ended. So, as goes back to what I said at the start, my job has massively changed since we started this project. We adopted an approach to kind of bring the users along on the journey with us rather than try and hit them with a stick that everyone had to enrol straight away. So as we were doing the premium pilot, we conducted a few events to get users down and see what we were building and take notes from them if they had any concerns, if they had any suggestions to implement in the build. And quite a few of them ended up being implemented, much to their delight that they were actually being listened to instead of being enforced to be enrolled.
Yeah, you guys actually had war rooms.
Yeah, it was called a war room.
We had a war room where we invited every part of the different parts of the universities together and discussed exactly what we're doing, showed off builds.
It was pizza as well. It all went down very well.
Yeah, pizza, yeah. We had one professor, the angry professor, come in, starting inspecting profiles and say, what's that? And it was quite interesting, but it was good. We got a lot of open communication, right?
Yep. So, with that, we decided for our user-initiated enrollment, Max, we also wanted to get them assessed, want them to upgrade their OS, get them compliant, and migrate their accounts to Jamf Connect and secure their Macs. Now, what do we do if the Mac is tooled?
Remember, 20 years of buying hardware that was unfeathered.
Well, the university's massive, so there's Macs everywhere in far-flung reaches of Glasgow and different campuses. So we don't have eyesights on all the fleet that's out there. So if a user enrolls a device and it's tooled, we need to tell them, because we only want to support the current OS -1 to make sure we're secure and compliant. So what's a good way to get people to update their device? The device is tooled, try and get a new one. Ask your line manager to order a new device.
So check under your chairs, right? Free computer, no, sorry.
So that's been a big selling point for getting people enrolled in the MDM if their device is old. They replace their device with a brand new device and they're not really asking too many questions about why do I need it managed. I'm getting a new device, they try it out and they're all really, really pleased. Another big benefit of it we use in Jamf is the self-service. With all the apps that we can pre-package and put in there, all the software, IT tools as well, and departments are delighted because it's not coming out of their budgets, it's coming out of their central pot. So
they remember all that work they did before, right? Consolidating all Azure into one for the university, consolidating all the procurement. That kind of filters down. That's a ton of work that they did, but that filters down into things where it's like free software for everybody, right? But you have to enroll.
So the biggest carrot in the stick is that they can not get research funding without aligning with their Dementor friend. Because remember, secure device means funding.
Yeah. And we're going to just walk really quick through on how that whole user-initiated enrollment bit worked, right? So, we have Bob. He has a Mac. It looks like a new Mac. Let's pretend it's an older Mac. But so the first thing we have to do is, and this is all part of that path to production, right, is that we want to make sure the stuff that is coming in, we have the proper smarts in place to direct that device somewhere, right? So we need that signpost. In this case, this is probably a lot of different smart groups, right, that have specific requirements that we know what is supported for Mojave. We know what's supported for Sonoma, for you name it. We know the hardware that's supported. So then once a device enrolls, we can direct it to either the proper OS that need to be upgraded to, right, or free computer, right? That's the first step. Then once we have them on the path to being upgraded, then we have to nag them, right? So we have to nag them to be upgraded. Now, these are very clean graphics. Wow, look at that. But in reality, like, we wanted to make sure this is not as obtuse or annoying as possible. So what we made sure was that the OS was cached to the device, installed on the device. Using Jamf Pro, we can figure out, hey, the device is ready for an upgrade. Let's run that upgrade, right? So they would upgrade. And we would annoy, but I'm telling you, nothing is more annoying. Not this. Nothing is more annoying than your IT guy knocking on your door over and over going, did you upgrade yet? But you do it. You have a Scottish accent, so much more.
Please upgrade now.
So once they are told, or they finally decide to upgrade, again, we're trying to enable, we're trying to make them learn. We're not going to take anything over. They go to self-service where they have to click the little, okay, I'm good to go, okay? Once they start that self-service policy, there's a great little script, right? It's called erase install. It's not named the best because we're not erasing, but there's a really cool upgrade option in this script, right? So we're gonna upgrade, and the nice thing is the OS has already cached the device, so we're not downloading anything. So erase install just comes up, starts the process telling them that we're getting it ready, right? And then we're getting it ready, and then we're gonna start the upgrade. Also, one of the cool things that erase install has is the ability to say, after you're done upgrading, run a recon. So then that device is reconned, and we know it's upgraded right away, so we don't have to wait for the next recon. Once we're done there, the OS is upgraded, Bob's happy. Can't you see the smile? Right? Then we go through when Bob logs in to set up your Mac, okay? And set up your Mac was, again, part of the whole process, and you'll see this a little bit later, but we wanted to make sure everything was branded. We want to make sure everyone has a good understanding that this is Glasgow University, right? This is, the University of Glasgow that they work for and stuff like that. So set up your Mac, nice branded, lets them know installs the software they need. We installed Jamf Connect at that point. Probably we'll have to reboot. Once they're rebooted from Jamf Connect, they log in. We then migrate the account, that's the local account, to Jamf Connect, so they're linked. And then we go through the final process, which, to be honest with you, I just didn't have any more icons in my brain. I was really tired. And so I just said, then we secure it. But it's been secured the whole way through, so.
So, at the minute, the university has, as of today, 380 devices, 380 macOS devices enrolled. And that number's increasing every day. We've got a very similar number of iOS devices, again, increasing every day. Around 80% of our users are enrolling without too many problems, as in they're not being too grumpy or disgruntled. We've got another 20% who ask lots and lots of questions, which is fine. They're wanting any fears, they want to express any fears they have and want reassurance from themselves that we're not spying on them or looking at personal files, etc. So most of that 20% are quite happy to engage with us and then enroll their devices after that.
You forgot about the 1% that wants to kill you.
Yeah, we'll still got that.
No. We're not supposed to talk about that. Okay, so we did also do an automated device enrollment workflow because at the same time there is some new people starting, or as you saw in our slides, free computers. So when you get a free computer, that's a newer one, that's tied into the automated device enrollment. It's a little bit of a video. I think it should automatically start. Things are faster in Scotland, by the way. That's why it goes by so fast. You didn't know this, but that's what happens when you're in the Greenwich time zone. No, it's I sped this up so we didn't have to sit here for 15 minutes, but as you can see, we're going through the regular remote management bits and bobs. Try to take care of everything, install everything that's needed. I branded everything. I love the brand because, again, it looks like Hogwarts. So I don't mind logging into my computer when it looks like that. Once they're logged in, then we use Set Up Your Mac, going through all the proper, enable Touch ID, and then going to Set Up Your Mac, and then getting all the software that is needed on there. Again, there's required software that has to be there, which is Office. Office is, like, technically it's Outlook and Word, but when you install Outlook and then Word, that's like 1.3 gigs, and if you install the entire Office suite, it's 1.43 gigs. So what are you going to do? That was a question for you. No, okay. So we just decided to install all of Office, right? But sitting at a set up your Mac window for this long, we didn't want that to happen, so we kind of like go through it and then put it in the background, and then it kicks off a little bit later to get everything installed for them.
So all of our users on the Mac are standard users, and they use SAP privileges to escalate their privileges for 50-minute window for admin rights. Now, some of our funding requires Cybersecurity Essential Plus certification, which means the user can't escalate their privileges. They're not allowed to. There has to be a separation of accounts. So we needed to come up with a different admin model because we want this certification in the university to get access to funding. So one of the things that we did was I created a self-service policy to create a new user, an admin user, with a randomised password, which would be there for 15 minutes. And then the user would be prompted by a launch daemon to see if they still needed the rights. If they did, they get another 50 minutes. If they don't, it's removed. That's then compliant with Cybersecurity Essential Plus technically. There's some processes around who's an admin user to go through, but technically that meets the standard. So, was all this work worth it? Well, my Mac Jamf build as part of Project EOS was audited, and we passed with flying colours. So we're very, very happy with that.
After this talk, we're going to go get a tattoo of Cybersecurity Essentials. No. But we passed.
So some of the benefits of doing all this work is we're getting rid of old tech within the organisation and modernising our fleet. And when we've had Mac devices way out in the wilderness for so long, that's a big thing. People trying to enroll 2013 iMacs are getting shipped right out the door now.
When we did the first initial rollout, we were like, please enroll, we're going to test stuff out. One guy, 27-inch 2013 iMac, with a spinning hard drive, with 1012 or 1013 or something like that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So some of the other perks we have, or some of the benefits we have, is we're able now to provide information to our security team via the Jamf Protect integrations and the Power BI integrations. We've got to report on patch statuses, different software patches, various definitions, encryption statuses, and with using Jamf Connect with Azure for identity management, we can guarantee that no external users can log onto our devices. So there's been huge benefits in this process.
And you got to remember, this is really one of the reasons why I wanted to present with Chris too, is highlight the work he's done, because we got to remember, like, it's all about enablement, but then it was this slide here, the data and everything else. It was more Chris just saying, we need the data. I'm like, okay, we have this KB on Power BI, and then he came back with this. Like, the work has been just amazing. Like, so it's been awesome working with you, and you've been doing amazing work too, so it's been awesome.
Cheers, man.
Okay, so we've come to we're not done. Okay, questions. I'm joking. Is there any questions? No? Great, okay.
No, yep, you do have some questions here, so let's see.
Chris is taking all questions.
Well, thanks very much.
Okay. How does this work with research staff who have a lot of data and are unwilling to get a new machine and can't use Time Machine and Migration Assistant?
So what we try and do is we try and engage with the staff, and we will walk them through what we've done, and we'll show the benefits and how our build can assist their research and keep their research more secure, and we'll assist any user that's got any problems. And when you engage with the users and the professors at that level, they're very keen, for the most part, to get involved with you.
Also, I think your university has a policy where all data has to reside on OneDrive too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier them to move them when they have a lot of data or blob storage or whatever else.
The university's been very, very good in enforcing changes via the IPSC committee, which mandates changes throughout the university. So there's management backing from the very highest level to make all these changes, which, as all of you will know, that's half the battle.
How often did you or do users stumble and need help using user-based enrollment? Do you have advice or public guides to help alleviate users that can't follow prompts?
We can get a video of you screaming at them.
Yeah.
No, sure.
Well, before we went live, we did do a lot of instructional guides and put them all on the University of Glasgow website so that users were directed there. There was a lot of central comms as well went out. So every user in the university was told about all these changes and how to enrol their Mac and what changes were coming and where to find information on our new deployment method. So there has been an awful lot of central comms, and that's a big takeaway. They have to engage with your users and engage with them centrally, so that it's not a message over here and a message over there. Yeah. One defined message that goes out to everybody.
Yeah, that's a lot of the work that Colin did, right? The marketing aspect of it. So doing those war rooms, getting so it was not just Chris alone, but Chris and we built this all up, but then making sure we had those war rooms so every single IT staff of every university within, because it's multiple departments within the university, understood why we were doing it. Not just what is happening, but why. And then we brought in some of the head professors who were sniffing at our work and everything else. But again, we told them the why. And it was Colin and Chris who continued with this marketing message so that it wasn't a big deal. Mm-hmm. And they knew where to go for help if there was an issue. But majority of people were fine.
What is the cool script or app after the setup assistant in Jamf Connect login window that shows the initial status of the different apps that install during the enrollment process and setup?
I've set up my Mac, wasn't it?
Set up your Mac. Yeah, Don.
Sorry, it's Dan Snell.
Yeah, Dan Silson. Yeah, he's here. Yeah, at JNUC.
Yeah, you can find that on GitHub.
Yeah, or you can go to his website as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very customizable as well. So
and
branded it really nicely. Yeah. So
awesome. You also have a comment of best slides of all the sessions in room 17 today. So congratulations.
Awesome.
Let's see. How long did this project take?
So the premium pilot is supposed to be 90 days, but given the size of the university and the complexity of the age of devices and how many we had, and all the products we took, because we took Jamf Connect, Jamf Pro, Jamf Protect. Did I say Jamf Protect?
Yeah.
Jamf Protect and Jamf Threat Defense. So we wanted to make sure we got every product up and running and integrated and do it properly. We didn't want this to be half-baked. We wanted this to be proper enterprise level setup.
Yeah, I think the first bit of the project. So we started, it's 2023 now. So 2022 in the fall, like November, I think it was.
A
little bit early in October. And we did the 90 days, and that was very Jamf Pro orientated and Jamf Connect. Because, again, it's not just the technical build out, it was making sure we had those technical conversations, because Chris doesn't own, he doesn't own Sentinel, he doesn't own Azure, so there's a lot of people that played a large role making sure we had the proper meetings. And then again, those marketing meetings, having a war room, bringing everyone together. This is why Colin was good at that, the why for everybody, to make sure everyone knew why we're doing this. And then when that was all done, we kind of looked and they were like, yeah, we're missing the security bits. We really want to do more. So we continued another premium pilot, specifically more on the security bits and some of the iOS stuff that was coming up again too, because of the work with Apple and such, trying to bring that up. So all in all, we finished at the beginning of this year.
Yep, integrated the Jamf Protect data into Sentinel as well for our security team.
And they only went
eyes on the Mac. Yeah.
And you only went, when did you guys pass? It was just the summer in June, right? When everything was done?
What, for the audit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 400 some in there already, and that's just in
That's
June.
us only
So,
starting.
yeah.
How does your university handle users who deliberately skip MDM enrollments?
So,
We're not supposed to talk about the flogging.
yes, that's true. So for new devices, we set recovery lock and we have disabled the erase assistant on the Macs so that the user can't wipe their device or skip enrolling. They have to do what we mandate. For user-initiated devices, that's a process. So we have to track down the users and send a lot of comms to them to get them to enrol. Now, given the number of people we have, not everybody's comfortable enrolling their own device. We have to schedule time with them. There's always going to be people that try and sidestep us, but we need to win that argument with them and get their management to mandate to them that they have to enrol because it's came down to the very top of the university.
Yeah, and
There's no wiggle room.
And like we said in the presentation, right? If it's not enrolled and we can't secure it, there's a government mandate on that whole cybersecurity essential. So if the device is not secure and doesn't pass that, then the stuff you do on that, you cannot request funding. So it's a really good carrot on a stick.
How are you naming your machines to meet the audit, and what remote tools are being used by help desk?
So at the minute, the remote help desk we are currently using is ISL Lite, which isn't ideal. I'm really looking forward to Jamf Remote coming out at some point. That'll be a huge benefit to us. What was the first part of the question again?
What do you name the computers?
Oh, name them. So we've got a naming script. Name them. The first part of the names for the department, and then
This is the UID, right?
yeah, so UID for the second part, and it differentiates between a desktop and a laptop.
Yeah, but we don't like serial numbers, and we don't think names, like the name of a computer really doesn't matter in a sense where it's more of just keeping it unique, but also keep it mysterious.
How often did users stumble and need help using user-based enrollment? Do you have advice or public guides to help alleviate users that can't follow prompts? Did I ask that one?
Yeah, we've answered that one.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry about that.
that's okay.
How did you deal with legacy apps that have no updates to a compliant Mac OS?
Well,
I can answer it the Canadian way. Sorry. Sorry, the app's done. It's gone.
yep. If it can't run in modern OS, then it shouldn't really be used at all. They should be upgrading.
How are password changes handled with Jamf Connect when users don't remember their old password?
So the user can reset their password via the recovery or with a help desk portal for the Azure account. They can reset their password there. If they forget their Azure password. For the local device, they reset it through recovery, and they would need our assistance to get the lock key to make that change.
Good, he didn't talk about the flogging.
Why did you choose Jamf Protect instead of Defender, which you alluded to using on Windows devices, and also a call out of hi to Rob?
Well, we're actually using both.
Yeah.
We're using Protect and Defender. As I said, we're Microsoft House, and our security team are very much Defender A5 focused, but we felt that Protect offers a lot of native protection to the Mac devices, and that's why we're running with that as well.
And we're trying to convince them with data.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked with our security CE in Nia Tice, and he jumped on a call as well and hooked up all the Sentinel bits and bobs and specific reports for a lot of things, even to the point where we had reports coming out. So when someone did SAP privileges tool and they added a comment why, and they always knew it was me or him doing it because we would just go, but there was people that actually put in responses. We had that in a report as well coming up. So again, I think the best way to win this war would be the more data and show them what it can do. So
How did you handle the users who required admin rights on their devices?
Well, that's what SAP privileges is there for. The users have admin rights for 15 minutes. Obviously, there's customizations you can make if there was any specific requirement, but I've not came across anyone that needed more than 15 minutes to make any admin changes. But we're always willing to engage our users to make sure they've got what they need. The whole idea behind this was we had a functional product that was secure. There's no point securing a device completely and then research can't be accommodated. So we've had to take a middle ground. And SAP Privileges does that for by far the majority of our users.
Since you're forced to use OneDrive, do you use known folder moves or KFM for your users?
Yeah.
He showed me how to do it. I never did it before.
Do you use all the Jamf products to help you meet cyber essentials?
Yeah, well, we're currently going through that accreditation right now. So that's, we're being evaluated on it by our assessors. So watch this space.
Did you use a security benchmark to help you meet cyber essentials? Was it the CIS security benchmark? And how many controls do you enforce on the endpoint?
So this is the fun thing about cybersecurity essentials. It's not a benchmark, like a technical benchmark, like you look at CIS or NIST. Cybersecurity essentials needs to be, like there's some specific things, yes, that we can put in place, maybe either from CIS or from the macOS open source macOS compliancy project that would tick a couple boxes. But the interesting thing about the cybersecurity essentials and cybersecurity essentials plus is it's more of an overreaching, not just the technical aspects of a device, but actually the processes on how you interact with the device. So if you're really interested, I would highly recommend just Googling cybersecurity essentials. You can see their website, they have a PDF and stuff like that. But the UK government has implemented this. And all companies have to do this now, and then especially anything public tendered have to follow it. So it's just a very interesting way. I've had many meetings on just like, for example, the administrative privilege thing. We had this changed in April where it had to be no user can be admin. You had to, this is for Cybersecurity Essentials Plus, but no user could be admin. They had to not be elevated. They had to stay standard, and if they had to do anything else, they had to have a separate admin account, right? Well, this was a change that was done in April. There's really no technical thing you can do other than Chris invented his own system, right? Or you could use some sort of a lab system, but in reality, that was something we had to sit down, we had to discuss many different meetings, especially when other universities in the space were passing with SAP privileges tools, but now with the changes that happened in April, the auditors knew, so you couldn't use SAP privileges tool because sometimes the auditors come in, they're not maybe the Mac experts, they may be the Windows person, so they like, oh, you're not admin. Oh, I did something that works, okay. So you had to really, you have to really interpret this one. I could, off the top of my head, I can't name exactly what I used, but some benchmarks from the macOS compliancy project we used. That was a really long answer. I'm sorry for everyone. He's yawning already. Dude, I'm sorry.
We're almost done. We got 3 more. What is the plan for offboarding users? For example, if a user leaves, do you take the device back and erase it and then reuse it? Or does the user keep the device and you just unenroll it?
No, the device would come back to the university, to the department that originally bought a device, and then they would ask us to wipe the device and give it to a new member of staff or a replacement member of staff, depending on the device's age, of course. If the device was over 4 years old, we'd probably just get a new device, and then redisposal, which is our government framework of disposing of IT equipment in the UK, would would dispose of that equipment in the proper way. So
is
no
that
data
Chris's
was lost.
garage? Chris's garage? No, sorry.
The video that showed the items taking place, did those happen automatically or were they all user initiated?
The video, sorry, can you repeat that question?
The video that showed the items taking place, I think that we're installing before, Did that happen automatically, or were they all user initiated?
No, fully automatic.
Yeah.
And I think I asked this one, but I just figured out I can remove them once I ask them. But just in case I didn't, how long was it from when you found out you had to enroll the devices to completion?
Sorry.
I don't get the question.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's just asking a timeline of once you knew that you had this project to where you're at now, what was that timeline?
Well, we started roughly between August and October last year, so it's been quite a rapid growth from what with nothing before, with no management. All we really had was iOS devices being managed in certain areas by myself on Intune. So we had to build this from scratch. So it's been a really rapid deployment, and it's just going to keep growing from here. It's been quite a journey.
I think it was more the April changes to the government, where they said any publicly tendered companies, or like schools, companies, whatever, they needed to have cybersecurity essentials. So the dementor of our story was the timeline, and that came in this year this year, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this year, April, that they wanted everything done.
Yeah, it
by,
was.
So.
Well, awesome. Well, that is all of the questions, and we are at time. So thank you, everyone. Thank you both for
Thank you.
a great presentation.
Texas themed. And unfortunately, we never got cowboy hats for the thing. We're going to try, but.